Tonight, a Target 8 investigation that is raising serious questions about how the state polices our doctors.
It starts at a clinic that performed abortions in Muskegon, recently shut down after the city found filthy and unsafe conditions.
Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker discovered the state received a complaint against Dr. Robert Alexander as far back as 2009, but the doctor had a well-placed connection on the State Board of Medicine. Ken's in studio with what he found.
Brian, what we found is that this well-placed connection, the chairman of the State Board of Medicine guaranteed that the complaint against Dr. Alexander would not be investigated by the state. This is the original complaint. The complaint filed by Sharia McLeod's OB-GYN alleged that the abortion performed by Dr. Robert Alexander on McLeod in 2009 could have killed her. It also failed. McLeod's son, Jeremiah, is now 3.
When I left, I thought that the procedure was done because when I came home, I was bleeding.
In the complaint, McLeod's OB-GYN, Dr. Michael Engel, also described a second case in which Dr. Alexander allegedly ruptured a woman's uterus. In Muskegon County court records, we found allegations of a third botched abortion, not part of the complaint. A woman who had an abortion then delivered a stillborn baby missing the skull, brain, and other body parts. Engel, who now works at a hospital in Elkhart, Indiana, would not go on camera, but told Target 8 that he, like McLeod, was never questioned by a state investigator. 10 months later, Dr. Engel got this letter from the state of Michigan, that it would not pursue his complaint, that it could not investigate Dr. Alexander unless it was authorized by the chairman of the State Board of Medicine. The letter said there was an insufficient basis to authorize an investigation, but documents obtained by Target 8 through the Freedom of Information Act are raising serious questions about that ruling. State Department of Community Health records show it was then Board of Medicine Chairman Dr. George Shade Jr. who reviewed the complaint. No investigation was even needed.
Ain't that something? It's very grimy.
It was Shade who marked, quote unquote, no investigation needed. The same Dr. Shade we found, who in the 1990s had played a major role in helping Alexander get his license back. The state had yanked his license after Alexander was convicted and sent to prison for selling illegal prescriptions to undercover cops. State records show that Dr. Shade, then at Detroit Medical Center and Wayne State University, but not yet on the Board of Medicine, wrote a letter on Alexander's behalf. Alexander used that letter as Exhibit A1 in his licensing hearing. Dr. Shade then supervised Alexander at a Detroit clinic, a step the state required before restoring Alexander's medical license in 1998.
He should have been investigating my case if he was his mentor. That still ain't right. It should have been somebody else investigating. Why would you investigate my case and you are his mentor?
State Senator Tanya Shootmaker served on the Board of Medicine before this happened. She says she was unaware of the connection until Target 8 alerted her.
There was a clear conflict of interest here, and that should never have occurred.
Shade, who is no longer on Michigan's board, is now Chief Medical Officer at an Indianapolis hospital. He would not talk on camera, but acknowledged in a telephone interview that he had helped Alexander regain his license. He insisted that the abortion complaint was handled properly and that the state notified the patient about his decision. Did you know that they're done with the case?
No. I never heard anything.
You never heard that they closed the case out?
Mm-mm. To this day, I thought that the case was still open. Nobody never sent me no letter or nothing.
In his brief report, Shade wrote that Alexander did not breach the standard of care, that he told the patient she was too far along to have an abortion, and that Alexander returned her money. The patient was refunded her payment. Did you ever get money back?
No.
When pushed about the conflict of interest, Shade said, quote unquote, this conversation is over. Then he hung up. What's not clear is how Shade reached his conclusion.
I have everything. I have the time I had the abortion. I have all the slips when I took off work. I have the prescription bottles. I have the copies of the prescriptions that he gave me. I have everything.
And she has a healthy 3-year-old son.
He's a special baby. Yeah, I love my baby. I mean, because he's a baby that I wasn't really expecting to have, but I love my baby.
Now, we wanted to ask the current Board of Medicine Chairman, U of M surgeon Dr. Richard Burney, how this could happen and whether it could happen again, but he refused to talk to us. Officials with the State Bureau of Licensing and Regulations, which would have conducted the investigation if authorized by the Board of Medicine, said they were not aware of the potential conflict of interest.
Ken Kolker, thank you. Our investigation continues tonight at 11. You'll see Target 8 try to track down Dr. Robert Alexander, and a state senator vows to push for an investigation after our findings.